So yeah, we don't have, like I was mentioning, it presents a challenge, but it also it's a learning opportunity uh, because sometimes when we have the live model, uh, it'll be in a certain pose where it's hard to take a measurement. Where let's say the model might have the arms up in the air, uh, and it's covering his head, or his head might be in a foreshortened view, so you can't use that to measure. And so this cast doesn't have a head, right? And but there's other landmarks that you can use to get a head measurement. Uh, so let's say like what I'm doing here, I'm starting the envelope, that one line that goes through the figure. So this is the big envelope here, the base of the neck there. And so we've got here a very graceful that contrapposto, that counterweight to the figure, which means that one of the hips is going to be higher than the other one. So it creates this line, and then it does the same thing, or it does the opposite with the shoulders, right? It does this. And like I said, we don't have the head measurement, but we have the distance from we have the breast, and more specifically the mammary patella here, then the belly button, and then we have the bottom of the pelvis around the genital region, right? So we know that those are equal measurements, especially from there's no foreshortening here. So this, I can use this. That's pretty close. This is from the belly button to the bottom of the pelvis. So that's one head measurement. And then from the belly button to the breast, that's another head measurement. And then from the breast to the chin, so this tells me that maybe this is too long. So yeah, with this drawing, when we're working on this drawing, I don't want you guys to you don't have to, I'm not gonna tell you like it's 4 inches or 5 inches, but you have to make the drawing bigger, like so that it fits on your 14 inches or your 17 inches, depending what paper you're using. But yeah, like now we don't have the head to measure, but we've got those other areas that we can use, those other anatomical landmarks. So I think overall this, I think I probably just have to bring this down a little bit, because I mean that's pretty close, and I'll be making some adjustments. And so this is the point where I think people kind of they do the envelope, and like in regards to this class, people just kind of jump the gun and they want to start to throw in the all the details and the nice curves of the drawing. So look, I'm just keeping it angular here. And see this this area right here, you've got this line and then this one. This represents the rib cage. And then this is part of the external oblique and the pelvis here. And then of course, this is where the arm is truncated or, cut off. And then on this side, I think I'm in a little bit more. Well, see, in this case, there's almost a straight line here that I can use to bring this in more, make it more accurate. And then, well, maybe this will be a little bit higher here. And like I said, I'm still trying to figure this out. But yeah, this is key, this line here that established the breast, which is the second head measurement, the belly button, and the bottom of the pelvis. So you guys want to document this process. And see, before you start doing that, like it's a beautiful cast and it's a beautiful, female figure. But yeah, it makes you want to do this, this kind of, this kind of very curvy line work here. Yeah, keep it angular. This is better for your training as an artist. Get my eraser. And see, I had drawn this line, this vertical line, but I'm gonna start cutting into it. And see, because the right shoulder is higher, that also is pulling up the right press. So this is going to be at a slight angle. And this line is not at the bottom of the press. The bottom of the press would be here. This is the mammary papilla here. And the right arm is truncated a lot higher. It's cut off up here. And like I've been doing, since the start of the semester, working my way around the contour of the figure. And remember the bottom of the pelvis, but then the genital will drop a little bit below that. And then this leg, this kind of comes forward a little bit. So I'm gonna add this here. I think this comes in more. This comes in more. This leg. So I'm gonna keep working on this drawing and this approach, and then I'll measure to make sure that it's looking accurate. So overall, it's a very simple cast. I can start to venture inside of it into the internal contour. So I start to indicate a little bit of the of the forms within the cast here. So that, see, at this stage, you want to take a picture to show me that you're sticking with a more angular approach. See, all of these are line segments that are just at different angles. And, together, all those line segments can make the suggestion of a curve. Now I think it has gotten a little bit too wide. Just looking at the cast and looking at my drawing, I think the rib cage looks a little too wide. So I want to erase. Make sure I take a photo of this. So that you can document it and post it on your blog. So there again, it's erased, but I have a lot of these ghost lines here that can help me as I keep working on this. And like I said, you have to make the corrections that you need. And as I pointed out before, I erased it, the width of the rib cage was it looked to be too much. So I want to make that correction right here. So just working my way around the contour again. So I think this looks a little too wide. This truncated arm here. So I'm gonna I think that looks better. Now I'm gonna draw this line. This is the bottom of the breast here. And this is the mammary papilla here. This cross section of the neck. And I think I can start to map out here the shadow shape as well. And see, I could say like that. I mean, this looks pretty good, right? And I can start shading. But I drew this and it seems this is not big enough. This space here between the shadow or the pectoralis muscle here, as it goes, it connects to the arm. It looks fine, but at the same time, it doesn't look to be big enough. So I'll come back and check myself. And I think this leg also looks a little too wide. And I have to cut some of that off. And also, wherever I see a change in value, I want to make a indication. You know, that's a plane break. See, now this here is the bottom of the rib cage. And these sculptures, these Greek sculptures, they have so much information. The way they added all the anatomy. So you see this form starting to project forward here. And these are the abdominal muscles here. That's the belly button there. See, all this I'm gonna have to erase. I think that looks better. I'm thinking this distance is too much. I think also this has to be trimmed down. See how much I'm gonna have to take off here. So you want to take another picture, and then you want to document that picture. Documents the corrections that I'm about to make. See, now I can take that off. Now, when you're set up there in your homes and you're drawing, you need to not be distracted. Like, sometimes people are painting and they have a movie on as well. And that becomes very distracting because I remember like before the pandemic, students would do that in class. They were painting and they had like their phone on and they had their headphones and they were watching a movie as they were painting or drawing. And that's distracting and it prevents you from engaging with what you're looking at. See there, I think that is looking much better. I still think this looks a little too big. But again, let me go back and check my proportions here. Let's say at the bottom of the pelvis. These I'm just eyeballing, right? The belly button, the mammary patella up here. So that's 1, 2, and then 3. See, this is the neck, the cross section of the neck. So probably the face dropped down a little bit when it had the face, right? So I'm thinking this measurement coming up to there, that's about where the chin would be. So that's, so it's 1, 2, 3, and then up here, that would be the fourth, but that'd be the top of the cranium. So in that way, I'm using what I have here to figure out the proportions. I'm no longer having to draw the lines across the paper. I've used what I learned from those lines to now kind of help me guide myself. Like when we did the drawing of the figures, sitting down, and everything had moved except the legs and the distance from the knee to the bottom of the foot. So we knew that was two heads. So that helped us position ourselves. Same thing here is that we don't have the head, but we have these distance from here to here, from here, from the breast to the belly button, from the belly button to the bottom of the pelvis. So in regards to the height, I'm happy with it. But now I have to also think about the width. And I want to, just work on this maybe another 10 minutes and just leave it kind of, set it up for tomorrow when we'll start shading it. And like I've mentioned, I do erase a lot, but for these demos and for you guys, I do it even more because I always feel students don't do enough erasing and correcting. So now I'm gonna erase even lighter because I like how this is going. There's some things that I feel I have to address. Now, one thing that I have trouble with, or that I feel uncomfortable with, is the scale of the drawing. I'm much more comfortable making big drawings. If you've seen my paintings, I like to make life-size figures. And look, let me move the camera here. If you've never been into this drawing studio, move this here. It's like, you see all those anatomical drawings there. Those are all life-size. You can see there the size in relation to the door there. And I got several of these drawings, big drawings across the drawing studio here. So I always want to make my drawings bigger and my paintings bigger. And I feel a little constrained in this size of drawing. Let me zoom in more. So I would have liked to have done it bigger, but then again, it's it'll take longer, of course. But I do feel more comfortable in those larger, the larger scale. And some things kind of stand out, like maybe I made the neck too wide. And something like that is better. But and also look at the line work, very blurry, very light. Nothing is defined. Because this is far from over. You want to wait for those sharp outlines to the very end. And see there again, I've made some more corrections. I felt that the shoulders were a little too wide, so I'm trying to make them more narrow. Also, I think, we've become comfortable with the staying home and taking these classes. And I gave you guys that option, of staying home or coming in. But remember, in the fall, we're going back to traditional face-to-face. And you're not going to be able to log in from work. I mean, I had students they were at work and they would just log in whenever I would call on them. I could see they were at work. It's hard to go back to that, but yeah, we have to. That's and see there, I moved it in even more, the rib cage. Again, it's a female cast, so the shoulders are going to be more narrow. The rib cage is also smaller. And it has a very, I don't know if I'm capturing it, like a very subtle tilt, like contrapposto to the shoulders. So now I'm mapping out the shadow shape here. So I think this has turned out, I think it's okay. I want to take a break, come back later today or tomorrow and make when I have a fresh eye and make some corrections to this. But at least I know that the height looks okay. I've used what I have here to relate it to the proportions. And so it's a good start. And there's a little bit of that cast shadow there. It's also on the wall. So we'll leave it there. We'll take it from here tomorrow when we start again. Do you guys have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, guys. So I will see you tomorrow. Make sure you get caught up with all those drawings that you haven't finished. So that we can, keep moving forward with these drawings. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Hasta luego.